I am DM Zone. This is Gamers Oasis. We're going to do another hunt with the Maze Hammer. Okay, guys. So I want to talk about using the Maze Hammer and what it's doing, and kind of some thoughts I was having about uh, the Entropy universe as I see it now. So originally, one of the people that I was talking to told me that they thought uh, that there's only a certain amount of skill points per creature to be had. Um, and I think that might be true, but I think they're off. So let me go ahead and go over this with melee. As you can see here, creatures attack me. That's one group of skills. I attack them. That's a similar but different group of skills. Some skills go up with both, like combat reflexes. Some skills like bravado only go up when I get attacked. Other skills like clubs or heavy weapon only go up because I'm using a club or a heavy weapon. If I have to heal myself, that's a different set of skills. So that logic kind of breaks down if you say, okay, the only skills I get from that creature is based upon a certain number. Because if I'm healing in the middle of that fight, because maybe it's an extended fight, does that heal and the heal skills I get, um, does that come from the creature, or is that some other thing that's abstract, that's not even there? Do I don't even count that? Does the fact that it's attacking me count as one group, or the fact that I'm attacking it count as a different group, or is that all one group and there's a total number of skills that can be had? Or maybe there's a total skills that can be had from its attack and from its defense. So I think that when you look at it, there could be some truth to that, but I certainly don't think it's absolute, and I don't think that it's like a golden rule. If I was to go with anything, I would say anytime you have an opportunity to do something and it's involving a creature, the creature has a chance to do a multiplier. And that multiplier is why when you attack a level 0 creature, you get less skill points versus when you attack a 266 level creature, or whatever it might be, you get a different number of skill points. I think that's the difference. I don't think it's limited to a pool of experience points that creature has for your skills. I think that it's just a multiplier. That if you sat there and had the best armor in the game on a level 266 character and you were able to take that damage, or maybe you were evade 100 until you actually had to heal yourself, and there's no decay on any of your gear, you just kept evading it, right? I think that you would still gain skills even though you're not having any decay, even though you don't have anything you're giving the game in return. I think it's just a thing. I think they have the assumption people are going to be able to do that, that that's not something that they're doing. So they don't use that. They can't. It's one of those things where you can't quantify what you would do with that, so you kind of have to go with, in general, people don't have 100 evader profession. They just don't. So they're not going to go and fight Monuras like I'm fighting here with a level 100 evader and basically never get touched and never have to use their Vivo or their armor, and they're just going to go through and kill things. So if you just stood there and walked away and came back later that day to see if you were dead, I think you would still be gaining skills, just at a much smaller rate, because you're level 100 and your multiplier for the creature is like nothing because it's a level 3 creature. Whereas if you could last 5 minutes with a level 266 creature, as I said before, you would get more skill from it. in 5 minutes and then resurrect and go fight it again, because the multiplier in that level 266 creature is far greater than a level 3 Monora. And that's basically where it came from. I was sitting there and I was like, man, if I got high enough that my heal was faster than this, I could pull one Monora, go off to the side, and just stand there. And then I'd be building the evasion skills for a long time until I finally didn't. And I think that's an interesting thing, but and I don't think that's against the rules, as long as you're not AFK more than you would be AFK if you're trying to sweat or swant creatures. I think you need to be present. But yeah, that was a thought. Same thing goes for attack, I guess. If you were to be attacking creatures and doing some damage but not enough to kill the damage because the creature could heal faster, and you were able to withstand the damage without any other form of decay, would that be a continual source of offensive stuff? And the answer is, I think yes. I don't think that's something they considered, because how could you? How could you? I think that the amount of decay you have does affect how much skill you gain to a degree. But one thing I noticed, I've been doing some mining here. You won't find it in the group of videos that you see here, but you'll find it when you start looking at some of the 50-ped and the I haven't done, well, I've done 50-ped hunts, but I have not done a 50-ped mining run. I've done one 25 ped mining run in the last 50-ped hunt, but I've done a couple others since then. And one of the things I found is, now that I'm using the F101, my skills haven't proportionally jumped. The amount of decay I have has greatly increased, but the amount of skill I've done has not. So let me give you an example. If I were to use the training module, it was something like for like 30 or 60. It wasn't very much. I know I could get. I know that in the first video, I had the really good training module that you get from Planet Arcadia, and it was, I got like 20 drops off of like 5 ped worth of probes, and that was a lot. And then I went back this last time and I dropped using the F101, and I bought 25 ped, and I think I only got like 15 drops because of how many probes it took per drop. And I know that I gained more skills in the first one than I did in the second one, and that the decay was more significant. But it's my alarm. It was an early morning recording. So in that way, if I'm trying to do skills, I'm not necessarily. I was still a loss with that last mining run. But if I was going after skills, so I was more proficient with the F101, using F101 is probably still a huge negative. Now, I have a greater chance of getting something that is actually worth something. 25 ped is not a lot, so I dropped and I didn't come out successful, but I didn't have any mini hits either where I got like multiple ped of like list or something like that that was actually of value to do this, or the super high markup stuff like I did the first time. So, you know, I was a little bit of an unlucky run is what I'm trying to get at. But the next time it might not be. 25 ped really isn't that much in mining to do that, especially when it's only like 15-20 drops. So anyways, just on a little thought on that, and I don't know why I got into that, but let's get back into the melee and that type of stuff. So I've talked a lot about the fact that I want to do two-handed weapon fighting with the melee, and I want to go ahead and get into mining and that type of stuff. I can tell you that I want to say it's like level 26 strength. I stopped getting 5 points of strength or 5 points of encumbrance per point of strength, and I started to get 2, or something like that. I want to say it's 2, and now I'm getting 1 at like 28 points of strength. It would quickly leveled off, and eventually I'm sure I'll get 1 every other point of strength. But that's a thing. But that's not necessarily the only reason why I'm doing this, and that's still good. It also gives you a lot of hit points, and hit points are very important. Having the amount of strength I have has proved to be invaluable. I recommend people going to at least a 26 strength just to get that. I'm currently at 28 strength. Well, not in this video, but I will be. And that, even though it's slowed down, doesn't deter me because I'm still getting hit points fast, and that never slows down. How often I get strength slows down. I won't buy strength as one of my meta skills or whatever, the attribute codex growth. I'll do other things with that because I don't feel like strength is that important. But I am going to get to where I'm high enough to be able to use the ammo version of maces or whatever I can find and that type of stuff without having any sort of loss. So if I decide to move that way full on, I can do it and go into that series. However, I'm going to be doing another test again to see if the Bukin is still the best way at lower levels. One of the things I want to do is I'm going to take the same test I did with the Bukin and then apply that to the maze hammer. I'm going to go ahead and do my 15 ped hunts with the maze hammer. I'm going to do 4, and then we'll go ahead and that'll give us a 60 ped baseline of what it's like. By then my maze hammer will be able to level. I'll level it. I'll do the same thing, continuing, do another 4 hunts, just like I would with the Bukin. When I get it leveled and I continue, it'll be with the adjusted Bukin, mind you, but you get my point. And then we'll be able to sort of have a good idea of what's more valuable in that. But I'm also going to go into some of the other stuff. Interestingly enough, the two-handed sword is also 15 ped. This may or may not have been actually planned from the very beginning. So I can do 1 sword for 15 ped, or I can do 4 swords for 60 ped, and that gives you an idea of that. Then I can do 3 20 ped hunts with the 10 ped swords, and I think they're 10 ped. There was a variable. Anyway, it ends up that all the short blades, the great sword, and the maze hammer all work out to be about the same, and then we go from there. I have picked up 1 of the blast pistols I've been hoping for, and that's going to be a big thing moving forward. I plan to be doing that with the testing as well. I believe that in the end, pistols are more efficient, and if you're not worried about necessarily range, they might be more efficient than a Bukin. However, finding an unlimited pistol that I can use in this way that I can then level up is proving to be a chore. I'm not sure that they're in my price range. I think that it's going to be a great set of skills to learn, because supposedly by doing this you'll pick up more of different skills. I want to say someone said hit, but I don't think that's right. I think it's going to be more you get that hit with the rifle side of things, because my hit is way higher than my damage, but my damage should go up if I use a pistol. That's my thought, and then that will help my BLP stuff, and if I get a BLP, I don't mind doing BLP and taking that all the way up into the stratosphere and figuring that out. But that's kind of what I'm thinking about with the different stuff I have, and moving forward and doing a bunch of little tests on these little guys. And then the whole time I'm going to be raising my codex up, so it's currently fairly high. I'm hoping that by the time I get done doing all these tests, I'll be past level 20 codex on Monuras. I'm certainly going to keep track of where the big benefits are, see if I can find patterns, and then make sure I hit that, what I think, or predict what I think the next one's going to be, and then leave on a good point in the 20s. And then I'll probably move on to the next creatures. Now I'm still going to try and get 10,000 kills on the Monuras for both males and females, so I still have 20,000 plus ish Monuras to kill. So don't worry, I'm not going to be leaving Monuras anytime soon. Okay guys, so you might ask, what am I going to hunt after Monuras? My plan is to go to build up this for a while and then do big burst hunts where, you know, I'm going to still continue to swant Monuras probably forever and ever and ever, even after this. But I probably will still continue to swant hunt, because the swanting turns out to be, initially I thought it was horrible. It is very long, it is very arduous, it is very slow, but it is reliable, and I can do it while I'm collecting the ammo. So I'm going to be moving to the planet to do big burst hunts, where I'll be probably doing larger hunts, which will probably be more interesting for a lot of people, and then I'll be doing swant hunts where I'm going to just save the minis and maybe a little discussion, and maybe as like a filler for a background video while I'm doing something else, like one of the big 50 ped hunts, just because those type of things aren't going to be enjoyable. To give you an idea, I did a 6 ped swant in armor. I had 3 mini globals, I guess you could say, more than a ped, but, or right at a ped, but not anything that actually globaled off of Monora while swanting. I ended up coming out right at even overall. The amount of repairs to my armor, though, was 4.5 ped, so it was very rough that way. It cost me a lot of money. As you can see, I just picked up some hairspray. I did get hairspray. It was not during that 6 ped swant, it was through another swant just after it, where I took off my armor and went with the Vivo S10. Ended up getting like 6 units of the hairspray, which is kind of nice. Anyway, you'll see those in future videos when I have it like as a background video type of thing. But essentially, it proves to be worth the money, and it certainly is gaining me skills, which is very, very important. I get both the melee skills of evade and dodge if I had some shooting at me, in this case just evade, while I do the sweating, and then I get the shooting skills of shooting because I'm actually using my weapon. Now, I do not foresee that being such a big deal that it's going to be something I want to go to, because I'm more focused on shooting than I am on the dodging stuff and on the sweating stuff. Now, when I get those two components together, the sweat and then the muscle oil, then the animal muscle oil, then I can go ahead and put those 2 items together and make compound B, and that's sort of where I'm going to go with things. I have a tailor or 2 that likes to buy compound B from me, so I have a direct sell to them. I'm not necessarily worried about competing against other people. They are society mates. So that's kind of the direction I'm going to go with this, and they and when I get done doing that and I get to my 20,000 plus kills and I'm done with stage 5 Monuras, then the big burst hunts are going to be on the plants, and I'm going to be focusing on one type of thing, probably Gallards, because I've already got it, and I'm going to do ridiculous 50 ped hunts with gallards, just for the flock of it. Anyways, I know that joke was foul, and there's my dad jokes. Sorry about that, but all three of you that might make it to this point of the video will get those jokes maybe and appreciate them or hate them. Let me know in the comments down below if you actually saw this part of it. But anyways, so I'm going to be doing the Gallard hunt. Same thing with Gallards. It's the idea with Monuras. Going to go to where I get 10,000 kills, get through stage 5, and then, you know, probably check out something else. Probably after that will be Hornets or something of that nature. That type of stuff. Okay, guys, I'm going to talk real quickly about what happened in this video and that type of stuff. My total skills are almost into the 1400s. Maybe another fight or two, another thing like that will get me there. This is going to be primarily about melee stuff, so my alertness went up by a little bit, my athletics went up by a little bit, my bravado went up by a little bit, my combat reflexes by literally just a little bit, and then my big one was clubs. I got over 100 points of clubs, 102 points there, and I got just a little bit of courage, a little bit of dexterity. My evade sadly only went up by 1. I tend to get more points in evade when I'm doing things like swunting and that type of stuff. I think it's because the creatures don't hit me long enough or very often. I am killing them before they get their second and third attack off sometimes. First aid went up by just a little bit. Apparently I had to heal myself at some point in time. Oh yeah, I'm not wearing armor, probably a good true statement. Heavy weapons went up by a moderate amount considering how low the skill is, so I got up to 143. Melee damage is another one of those skills that slowly goes up, and it went up by 20 points as well. Melee combat, which is your overall melee ability, went up by 58 points, so I'll take that all day long. Perception, for whatever reason, went up by 7, and I guess that's a defensive thing maybe. And then skinning went up by 5 because I was killing creatures and whatnot where you had to skin them. So definitely a melee heavy boost. I did get a little bit of range skills though. I did get a little bit of defensive skills. I would like to get my range plus my defense and make that my defense, but I didn't get that. Paramedic went up by a fair bit, 34 points. So that's pretty nice. As you can see, my maze hammer is just drugging along. It will eventually tier. When I do, I'll have a decision to make whether I want to go up to the first tier and either amplify it so that I can kill bigger things, or put an extender in there so that it's more cost efficient. And if you have like a 20, like just say a 20% extender, that means that maze hammer, instead of being 5 ped worth of decay, it would be 6 ped worth of decay. So I don't know. We'll see. I got a lot of shrapnel. This is a great way for me to get shrapnel to use in my range stuff to help boost that up, is by doing melee. If I have the ability to repair my hammer 3 times, that is, of course. I got a lot of residue oil, but I didn't get any muscle oil really in this one. Same thing with the hides. I really didn't get a huge amount of hides. I got a little bit. Excuse me. I really didn't get a whole lot of extractors of any sort, and I did get a little bit of hairspray, two units of hairspray. So anyways, guys, you want to see more videos like this, let me know down below. Subscribe, hit the like button. If you didn't like this, go ahead and let me know why you didn't like it. That could be very valuable and important information. I'd much rather you tell me than just hit the dislike and move on. So please take that extra second and let me know what you guys are thinking. Thank you, I appreciate it, and keep earning that pet.